Mount Ball in Beatrice Peak is a 29-kilometer, 2168-meter elevation gain out and back trip, but don't let the 29 kilometers confuse you. It will feel like much, much more than that. This is because the route up has essentially no trail, and the bushwhacking up the horrific Hafner Creek is absolutely terrible. Given the views you get from Mount Ball, I would still put this up there as one of my favorite trips, if not my favorite trip. You're going to want to get a very early start so you don't end up hiking out in the dark. Park at the Marble Canyon Day Use area and cross the 93 to the Marble Canyon campground. While you're walking up the road to the campground, there will be a trail leading off the right side of the road. This is a shortcut that saves you a couple hundred meters. Once in the campground, take the road to the south side of the campground, going towards the J-Loop. There will be a large path on the right side of the road leading to Hafner Creek. Don't miss it because this will get you on a decent trail marked with pink and silver striped flagging. We missed it and ended up starting our bushwhack at the water tower.
Okay, I don't think you can see anything. It is 5:15 a.m. August 10th, 2020. Year one of the COVID. It's like very slightly. 5:33. We've been going 17 minutes, and now we're gonna start the bushwhack.
For the first little bit, you'll want to follow the trail near the creek and possibly do some creek crossings. Eventually, you'll get to a canyon section where you will stay on a trail to the left.
Canyon section.
After the canyon section, you'll probably lose the trail quickly, partially due to its non-existence. From here, I suggest you stay on the north side of Hafner Creek. There's really no good solution to navigating Hafner Creek. I suggest stay high up on the north side. We did this on descent and it seemed to work better than our ascent. If you stay close to the creek, you will run into some very shitty terrain. This is where all the flagging is though, so maybe it isn't that bad.
Bushwhacking just over an hour, 20 minutes.
You'll see a lot of fireweed. I believe the flower petals and the leaves are edible if you run out of food. Your biggest challenge of the day will likely be the near constant mental battle against the bushwhack. Luckily, you are given a 5 to 10 minute break as you cross an easy section of rock. At this point, you want to consciously stick left. The previous year, Michael and I accidentally went straight and went up the wrong headwall, resulting in the Quartz Ridge fiasco.
But we're close.
In this shot, you can see the headwall to Quartz Ridge here, and the headwall to Ball and Beatrice here. Once we got to the headwall, the bushwhacking got slightly better. We stuck high to climber's left and eventually reached a break at the very top of the headwall.
4 hours and 12 minutes from the parking lot.
Above the headwall there is a bit more bushwhacking.
Like, so far more bushwhacking.
But not for long. Soon you'll see your objectives, or not if they're engulfed in cloud.
I think we have to go in there.
Also note that you still have a long way to go. It took us more than 4 hours to get to this point, and about another 4 hours to get to the summit. Basically continue straight and eventually you'll run out of vegetation. There will be a lot of scree in climber's right side of the hanging valley, and there will be karst pavement elevating above the vegetation in climber's left side of the hanging valley. Access the karst pavement from the scree.
Yep, here's Michael.
Watch out for cracks in the karst pavement. You don't want to roll an ankle. Follow it up climber's left of the hanging valley. If you choose to do this as a backpacking trip, which is probably a good idea, one day is very difficult, then you should set up camp here. It will be hard to find water otherwise. Once off the karst pavement, head climber's left around the buttress, aiming between Beatrice and the buttress. Aim for the waterfall. That is the ascent route.
Here's the buttress. There's Beatrice. That's the descent gully. That's the waterfall.
The waterfall does not have much water. It is probably low class 3, since it is a bit wet.
less than 500 meters.
Once above the waterfall, head up towards Climber's Right until you get to the ridge. Head southeast along the ridge towards the buttress and Mount Ball. Under good conditions, the buttress should be no more than Class 3. Once at the top of the buttress, there is about 300 more vertical meters to the top of Mount Ball. Mount Ball is typically approached from Climber's Right of the glacier until you gain the summit ridge and cut more northeast. We decided to go straight up though, since we brought crampons and ice axes. This turned out to be a bad idea since the start of the glacier was soft and we were post-holing. Higher up the glacier got better. It was ice under a thin layer of fresh snow. Once above the glacier, it is a short walk in scree until you gain the summit ridge. Follow it to the summit. I suggest going past the summit to the north. If you continue along the ridge, you can break off on the south side and get a great view of Shadow Lake. If weather and time permit, take a long break on the summit. Considering the bushwhack inn, this could very well be a once-in-a-lifetime view. I would like to go back there someday, but I know that when I do, it will be at a great cost.
It's really nice. And I think over here are some Pharaoh King's baby. Yeah, maybe that's the one. And over this way, it's like the rock wall. There's some cornice.
Despite the shitty weather, we spent about half an hour on the summit. The audio from most of these clips cut out from the wind, but after about 8 hours of hard work to get to the top, wondering the whole time if we would be able to see anything, the lack of audio is in parallel with the peace in my mind at this point. Here is the view from the actual summit, with the clouds gone now. When you're ready to descend, follow the ridge around to the south end of the glacier and then start heading down. Make your way back towards the buttress and proceed to ascend it. There is a cool crack you have the option of jumping over on the west end of the buttress. Descend the buttress and start along the ridge towards Beatrice. The route to Beatrice is straightforward, and the views from the top are still amazing. When you're finished on Beatrice, start going west, but stop before you get to the first obvious uphill section. Turn left towards the scree bowl you originally ascended, and you will see the descent route. There will likely be snow in the descent gully, so if you didn't bring an ice axe for the glacier, bring it for here. Once back in the scree bowl, you have an easy task. Just walk out the way you came in. I suggest taking a break on the karst pavement. It is beautiful, and the bushwhack is still far enough away that it can't haunt you from there. Be careful during the bushwhack. It is hard to tell what you are stepping on sometimes, since the brush is so high. Like I mentioned earlier, it is better higher up. It probably won't get any worse than this. That being said, this is pretty shit.
One hour to the deadline. This thing's bleeding a lot.
Yeah, you're probably going to fall at some point, so just be aware of it.
Slowing down. Here's the canyon.
Here is a video of me making a horrible decision to cross this creek.
Oh, that one was kind of unstable. See, this is the decision fatigue setting in, making bad decisions.
This is the trail leading from the campsite I mentioned at the beginning.
16 hours, 8 minutes. Okay, it's 9:39 p.m. August 10th, and yeah, and we just finished Ball and Beatrice.